What's up, the squad? Back with another video. Y'all seeing the title was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. As y'all see, as y'all know, Ilhan Omar wins the primary in a 75% landslide. It said a lot of people. I'm not gonna say frustrated. I'm not gonna say surprised, but a lot of people are irritated. A lot of people are irritated. I definitely want to say that because. Yeah, I think you got all these Somalians. You have a bunch of fraud that's going on. You got a bunch of things that's truly going on within this area. And looking at her, she is the cause of a lot of it. Not saying and using, and giving anybody any type of sort of excuse, but she's a huge part of it. I definitely say that. You have right here, it says Somalian Representative Ilhan Omar wins her primary for re-election to Minnesota's 5th Congressional District. Says she should be heading back to Somalia, not back to Congress. Check it out.
Without you, we have Somalia. Okay, a fine place where we have a congresswoman who brilliantly came over to the country by marrying her brother. That was the first law she broke. That was the least of them. And she comes from a country where they have nothing but crime, bedlam, filth, a horrible place. They say it may be the worst place. Comes to our country, and then she tells us how to run the United States of America. It's an amazing thing. Ilhan Omar. It's an amazing thing how they can get away with it, and the people don't want that to happen. And hopefully you'll figure it out. But a very terrible thing. I can't stand it. She says, the Constitution gives me certain rights. Go back to your own country, talk about a Constitution. They don't have a Constitution. They never will.
And that's the thing, when it goes down, of what's going on is the simple fact of there's people that's actually supporting, U.S. citizens that's actually supporting somebody that's coming from a messed up country, somewhere where a country isn't, right. Not to say, I truly feel, me personally, and I know America, you got, the best country, everybody wants to come to America, but it goes to show you, like, you just can't, you already coming here and trying to think you can do this and do that. Speaking on Ilhan Omar, but you have all of your peers. She has her community. She has people that are willing to do this. You got to think that Ilhan Omar doesn't care at all about Americans. We truly see that. I truly see that. But there's a lot of people that don't. People got to take race out of it. Take a name. Just Ilhan Omar, a human being. And you having a person that's having all this fraud. We talk about fraud. We talk about these gang wars that's going on. We talk about crime itself. Within a lot of these Somalis. I even showed y'all a video of them asking for reparations because of the things that didn't happen. What was it? Renee Good, and I forgot the guy's name, but of what happened with them, and they're asked for reparations. And it's one thing. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. I've said this numerous times. That's something that I truly feel as if they're doing, and they continue to do, and it's definitely sad. Ilhan Omar posted about Nancy Mace saying, "Why are you so obsessed with me?" The post says, between her two accounts, Nancy Mace has reposted about Ilhan Omar more than 75 times, often spreading false conspiracy theories and repeatedly calling for her to be censored, removed from office, and deported from the country. Me personally, I feel like it definitely is necessary. Ilhan Omar is always pointing a finger, saying that somebody's, constantly talking about her, speaking on her. But, look what she's doing to America. Look what she's causing. It's something that shouldn't be kept hidden. Is definitely something that should be talked about. You have it right here. This is Nancy Mace said last night was a masterclass in a total collapse of common sense. Sam, how Minnesota is pretty much tripping. Being real, pretty much tripping for re-electing Ilhan Omar and nominating Bernie for the Senate. Check it out.
Last night was a masterclass in what the hell happened to common sense.
I am incredibly clear that the Somali community is part of the fabric of the state of Minnesota.
We're looking at the elections, of course, last night, the primaries across the country, and I've got to tell you, we might need to update the map. At this rate, at the rate that we're going, America's only going to have 49 states. Let's start with Minnesota. Last night in Minnesota, it didn't just lean left, it jumped off a cliff into a socialist abyss. And if we don't start building a wall around Minnesota, the radical rot is going to infect the entire republic. Let's look at the wreckage. Ilhan Omar won her primary again, not just by a little bit, but by a lot. And apparently the voters in Minnesota have a terminal case of the Stockholm syndrome. They just reelected a woman who put Somalia first.
The first
Exactly.
women to wear a hijab.
Trashes America and treats our tax dollars like a personal ATM for her radical agenda. Watch this.
You guys have the ability to make an impact on where our nation is headed, not only here in the United States, but even in our nation back home.
In our nation back home, which of course is Somalia.
If you love the Ayatollah and hate the USA, Ilhan is your girl. It's a disgrace that she even holds a U.S. passport, let alone a seat in Congress. But don't forget, it was Republicans and Democrats who stopped me from subpoenaing Ilhan and her brother husband's immigration records. The remark is always, let the process play out, right? That's what they always say.
But then it makes you think, like, going deeper into that, like who all is in on it, Democrat, or Republican, just being real, who all is in on it within this, because you're not about to tell me that y'all are trying to cover up when it comes down to the feeding our future fraud, any fraud that's going down, the marrying her brother, what's going on with all these Somalians. Like, y'all not about to sit here and act like nothing is going on, or even have some type of no thought of, well, maybe so. I truly find it a little odd. I definitely find it a little odd within that, and I know y'all do too, because it's like it's way too much. It's way too much. We're not talking about one thing. We're talking about multiple things. We're talking about people actually getting arrested. Somalians getting arrested. People that's connected to this fraud that's getting arrested. And you see none of these individuals. When it comes down to fraud, when it comes down to Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison, none of that.
Nothing never happens. I tried to subpoena her immigration records, her brother husband's immigration records, and it was Republicans that killed my motion. Congress did that, both parties. And I can't seem to get a vote on a bill to ban the foreign-born from serving in Congress or as federal judges. Go figure. And it gets worse. Bernie Bro, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, the Lieutenant Governor of Looting, beat a moderate for the Senate nomination. Bernie Sanders backed her, which is the socialist version of a good housekeeping seal of approval. Flanagan is a radical, like absolute radical, who thinks safety is a microaggression and boundaries are bigoted.
I just watched the video of Donald Trump attacking the beautiful Somali community that calls Minnesota home.
Flanagan went to a Somali market, put on a hijab, and told the fraudulent Somali community, we've got your back.
We are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with our neighbors.
When I first saw her culturally appropriating a hijab, I thought it was AI. Apparently it's not. Look at this.
When I think of being part of Minnesota and growing up here, the Somali community has always been a part of my Minnesota.
But there's one hope, Michelle LaFoya. Michelle is a sports broadcaster who understands what a woman is. She's running to keep the progressive trash out of the Minnesota Senate. If you want to save Minnesota from becoming a third world country from the new Communist Party, vote for Michelle. Then there's Lisa DeMuth, who took the GOP spot. If elected, she'd become the first black female governor in the history of Minnesota. I was wrong to assume it would be front page news. Instead, they featured Amy Klobuchar, the liberal white woman, because of course the GOP pick is black. Can't have that. I guess DEI doesn't fit in the GOP. Now to my home state of South Carolina, where the establishment just got a reality check. The special Senate Republican primary is headed to a runoff because the good old boys couldn't orchestrate their coronation. Darlene Graham has the correct last name and the stamp of approval from the powers that be, but she didn't have the votes to clear the field. So Ralph Norman, the only candidate with a 100% conservative voting record, is in the runoff. Darlene Graham has a name, Ralph has the scars from the arena. The runoff is a test. Do you want a legacy or do you want a leader? I'm choosing the tried and true conservative Ralph Norman every single time. Now in Wisconsin, the Democrat Socialists of America tried to stage a hostile takeover, but even the Dairyland has its limits. David Crowley sent Hong packing. Turns out even Wisconsin Democrats are starting to realize the equitable vibes of the socialist pipe dreams don't actually pay the heating bill. So now we have a new segment. It's called the Hot Mic. It is on. Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed was caught in Oklahoma defending Sharia law.
And tried to ban Sharia law not a decade ago, but those forces are alive and well today.
This was a keynote speech at a CARE Oklahoma banquet. He spoke for 16 minutes while he gleefully spoke about how Oklahoma's old Sharia ban had been struck down. So, Abdul, if you import the third world, you actually become it. Didn't know if you knew that. And I read your comments sometimes. This week, my home state of South Carolina made the news, and not in a good way. South Carolina School District, Dorchester District 4, local reporting says 19 families met after learning that an elementary school teacher was openly transitioning in front of fourth graders. The district first said it would issue a statement, then declined to comment. So the Facebook comment section grabbed the wheel today. Sierra asked, should a transitioning teacher be allowed in an elementary school? The answer is no, absolutely.
I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably one of the reasons why Rennie, our daughter, is homeschooled. It's a lot that goes on. Obviously, you meet the teachers. Obviously, but I feel like there's just a lot of things that go on. I definitely, I feel bad, for a lot of individuals that I guess you could say have a choice, but a lot don't, that disagree with what's in schools, and don't really have that much of a choice, whether if it's work, whether if it's, the school being in that area, there's a lot of things within that. But me personally, I don't agree with that at all.
Not. There are 3 questions a district should answer, and it sure would be nice if the superintendent gave me a call back. I'm still waiting, Jeff. Otherwise, I'll stage a press conference in front of his office explaining how the district is impeding parental rights. So, number 1, what happened in the classroom? What policy allows a teacher to bring sexuality into the classroom? Mm-hmm. What did this district tell the parents, if they said anything at all? It seems like the families were ambushed by the mob, and they seem to have no actual recourse. So here's the thing.
But the thing is, like, within that, and I know this is kind of getting off course a little bit, but I'm glad that we're talking about it, is the simple fact that you have kids that ask questions. Rennie, she's 5, and she's starting to know. She's starting to know stuff. And as I'm, teaching her, obviously, me as well as her mom, when you're doing homeschooling, you obviously have to, teach, and you have to do those things, whether if it's, within her books, or whether if it's in her laptop. But she asks questions, she definitely asks questions, and, having that question asked, and I didn't got asked this before by Rennie. I've got asked by our 2-year-old. Why is that a boy or a girl? They don't gonna say man or woman. Is that a boy or a girl? Because they're like this now. And I'm not a person that's gonna judge, but I feel like that's something that's very unnecessary to bring, to a child, or express that to a child, or talk about that to a child. Because just think about that. I want y'all to think about something. Because there are people that's out here that do this. There's somebody that's transitioning, a teacher. And a student asks, well, what's going on? And they end up telling them this and telling them this. No, you don't know nothing. And that's what sucks, about how things, have come about as this, 2026. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that need to change. But one thing about it, when it comes down to Ilhan Omar, she's one person. You know, she's definitely one person that things have to get figured out and fixed. As President Trump calls for Somali Representative Ilhan Omar to be removed from Congress, and I don't blame him. I mean, it's too much going on. I mean, I've showed y'all multiple videos of a bunch of Somalis at graduations. I'm sure at gas stations. Graduations, the fair. We talk about the gang wars, the stuff that's going down in within the fair, the shootings. Over the years. It's nothing new this year. Over the years, if y'all haven't checked that out, y'all can definitely go check that out. It's actually a news article on that, that they're trying to stop these Somalian gangs from going to the Minnesota State Fair. You know, it's becoming too much within already having a crime that U.S. citizens have already. So I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think down below. Stay tuned for the next video that's dropping. Definitely a banger. I definitely apologize for the shorter videos tonight. Unfortunately, Wi-Fi has been out. I'm using my hotspot. Hopefully they've been turning it on here soon. It's now like almost 1 o'clock in the morning. It's been out since I want to say about 2:30 in the afternoon. So it's been a long time that had no Wi-Fi, couldn't really do videos, couldn't really do anything, nothing at all. I don't know, but yeah. Glad, hopefully y'all will see this video tonight. If y'all did, that means that video got uploaded. Definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Catch y'all next one.